The universe speaks the language of energy. Thoughts, emotions, chi, physical energy, psychic, karmic, essential energy are all forms of energy. Every thought that we have carries energy. Every emotion that we have carries energy. Every action, every word that we speak carries an energy. So if you think about the 8-body system, how strong is your intention going to be if it's just a thought that you have in your mind? Like, oh, that'd be nice to have like 24 Bugattis, you know? Kobe's number 24, Tate likes Bugattis. Okay, 24 Bugattis. Cool. You know? Can you hear the like lack of emotion that I had? It's just like, yeah, that sounds cool. That's good as any. It's the same as I heard this entrepreneur recently who was saying, like, my new goal is to have $100 million net worth. Like a friend of mine, it was her goal, and that so good enough for me. I'm gonna make $100 million. He also like adopted Gary Vee's goal. He's like, well, Gary Vee wants to buy the Jets, so my goal is now to buy some other baseball team. It's just like thoughts, you know, just random thoughts. And I think he's applying physical action towards it, you know, no judgment. Maybe he's super emotionally invested in it too. I don't really know. But you can tell there's a big, big difference between just thinking something might be nice and having this burning emotional desire that fuels this like vivid train of thought and ferocious action in the direction of that thing. That's a very different thing. If you're dreaming about it at night, like you cannot get it out of your mind. You were saying you can't shake it, you know? That's a very different type of intention than, oh yeah, that might be cool. The oh yeah, that might be cool is the level that most people are manifesting at, even if they don't realize it. Maybe they have a little bit, yeah, okay, a little bit of emotion. Might be cool. Our goal with intention is to align those deeper parts of ourselves, the 95% scientists say we don't have access to, our fundamental nature, our essence in the 8-body language, is to align our intention with those things so that it's a force of nature. It just like pours out of us. It can't not happen. Like the get rich or die trying. It's like, this will happen. This will happen. The master level is that level of intensity combined with the fluidity to take feedback and iterate on it. That's something many people don't even think is like a possibility. Like if you're burning with it, it has to happen, and you can still flow with it. No, those are opposites, right? They're opposites. You can't like intend that intently and also surrender completely. That's what full creative capacity demands. When both are true at the same time, then like what seems like magic can happen. This making sense so far?
So much.
Yeah. And part of it as well, the universe speaks in the language of energy. The universe also needs to know what the fuck you want. If it's not giving you what you want, maybe it's because it's not clear on what you want. Because your thoughts are saying one thing, but your emotions are saying another, and your actions are saying another. It's like, I can't tell what this dude is asking for. You know? That's where the envisioning practice and consistently like refining that. And you'll know with the envisioning practice, by the way, when you start really getting charged up. Weston last night, you could feel it, right? Like building on the couch there and like pacing, you know, like a uncaged animal. It's just like, you know, I've felt that way too. There were many, many nights over the years where a project came into my mind and I could not for the life of me fall asleep. It was just like I couldn't leap out of bed fast enough. That's the type of intent Intent is an energy. And the strength of that energy is what brings whatever you're intending. It's the like attractive force that pulls it towards you like a magnet. So thought's one level, thought plus emotion's another level, thought plus emotion plus chi plus action is another level. And then you can see how like the body of essence, so to speak, once it aligns with a core purpose, it just becomes nuclear. And there's also strength of thought, like how clear and precise is the thought. How strong is the emotion that fuels it? One of the most powerful forms of intent is actually discontent. Maybe it's the discontent, like that burning thing. It's just like, this is not right. I'm in this situation. I don't want to be in this situation anymore. And people fight against that and try to numb it and suppress it and not feel it. But maybe that's the emotional fuel that's going to propel you and your intention towards what you really want. I say throw gasoline on it. Like feel it more deeply. Make it burn hotter. Kobe and Jordan did not become the greatest players in NBA history because they were happy people. They just didn't.
There's a story last year you told about the Brazilian dude who won whatever jiu-jitsu in an unbelievable amount of time. That story stuck with me when they're like, how did you make yourself wake up? And he's like, I couldn't not wake up. Like, I loved it. I'm like, oh, wow.
Yeah.
Same with Kobe.
Yeah. That's intent, you know?
It's not forced.
It's not forced. It's burning intent, but it comes from this place of purity. Mm-hmm. And again, it doesn't have to be discontent. Of course not. You know, it doesn't have to be, but work with what you got. If all you got right now is this burning discontent, then stoke that fucker. And if, like BJ Penn was the jiu-jitsu practitioner, also UFC fighter.
BJ what?
BJ Penn.
The Hawaiian guy?
Yeah, he's from Hawaii. He went from raw white belt to winning the Mundials as a black belt, which is the world championships, in 3 years. So that's like psychotic, you know, unfathomable. And they're like, how did you do it? Discipline, dedication, you wake up early, you go to bed late. He's like, no, it's just so much fun, I couldn't not do it. It's on the mats like they had to pry me off the mats, drag me off the mats. Same with Kobe being like, you know, I just wanted to be, that's all I wanted to do. I didn't want to go out. I just wanted to play basketball. It's the same thing. Like greatness is cultivated through obsession, not in the rigid fixed sense, but just this like deep natural inclination. Like this is just all I want to do. For me personally, creating this type of material, generating insight and connecting ideas and communicating them, I found myself doing this most of my life from when I was a kid even. I was doing it for free in my head, and then I was doing it with friends, and then I kind of found myself doing it and here, you know, but I couldn't not do it because my mind just did it. It just couldn't help it. So intent is strongest when it's the thing that you just can't help. And simultaneously, this is a really, really big point. I don't want Weston to miss it though, so. I'm here. Okay. This is a really big point. Reverse intention also works, and not in a positive way. So there's this sort of, again, New Age saying that worry is praying for what you don't want. Fear also attracts what you're fearing. Fear is an emotional energy as well. and the universe speaks the language of energy. So if you're like consciously and deeply fearing something, you're paradoxically attracting that thing based on the principle of intention. And we've all come across people that just like cannot get out of their own heads and their own negativity and constantly bickering about the state of the world and how terrible everything is and how everybody is horrible, and their life never changes. They think that complaining is going to fix the problem, but complaining is reinforcing the problem. Continuing to be terrified that something's going to happen makes it more likely to happen. So this hopefully brings into context how important the emotional work is, how important the meditative work is, how important being comfortable with fear so it doesn't leave you charged but passes through you. It's critical to creating the life that, going back to that saying, like the masterwork of art, that requires master artistry. So the emotional work, the meditation, the internal development, all of that is then being reflected in the external world. There was this old joke at Apple, I'm sure Colton and Mason have heard of this, but Steve Jobs' reality distortion field. Anybody hear about that? Basically, Steve believed so deeply in the projects that they were creating, and even what everybody else told him was impossible, he was just like, make it work. You know, this will work, make it work. And there was a running joke that you couldn't spend too long around Steve because he would suck you into this reality distortion field and you would begin to believe what he believed. And his role at Apple, in large part as the visionary, was to inflict that reality distortion field on the entire company so that they would create what was previously thought of to be impossible. That's intention. And what do you know? They did. Same thing with Elon and reusable rockets. The entire rocket science industry basically told him that it was impossible. You know, he's on camera in one video, I don't have it here, but he's crying, explaining how many of his heroes growing up, people in rocket science, in what's the field called, like aeronautics? I don't know if that word's correct. Anyway, point being, he's crying because many of his heroes basically told him that he was an idiot, that he was just out for money, he was this capitalist pig, that what he believed in was impossible. They completely shut him down. And yet in the face of all of his heroes telling him that, he just took it on the chin and kept on going and created it anyway and proved all of them wrong. If you were 15 years old and Kobe Bryant came up to you and said, "You suck, you'll never be an NBA player."
Wow. All right.
Would you have the intention to bite down on the mouthpiece, dig your boots into the ground, and keep on going?
Would that be equivalent to Bruce saying you have low gene?
You see the energy we're talking about? And now, going back to that original thought experiment, what if you are creating your entire reality? What if there's way more inside of us than we think? As I hope we've all proven to ourselves there is. And what if our reality is exactly what we wanted to create? Wanting, not meaning on a conscious level, but all of the fears and emotions and the subtle feelings and the intuitions and the thoughts that are distorted, the thoughts that are misaligned. What if what we are or have created for ourselves is the sum product of those energies? Because all of those subtle energies that we may not consciously agree with are still putting intent out into reality. So what if we have exactly what we want? Hopefully that provides context to why trauma resolution, inner dissolving, purification, alignment, why all of that is so important.